Welcome to Ralph Bivins Project. I'm here today with David Hightower. He's Executive Vice President of Midway, a major development firm based in Houston and working around the state. And he's got a lot of experience in his business. And plus, he's also been active in the Energy Corridor District, president of it. I believe he's president of the Energy Corridor District still, and that's a major business community on the west side of Houston. So anything moves out there, he hears about it pretty soon. So thanks, David, for taking time to talk with me.
My pleasure. Happy to be here, and thanks for inviting me.
One of the bigger projects that everybody's been wondering about, that's kind of new on the Midway radar screen, is that used to be called Post Oak Central. They're right on Post Oak Boulevard, just a couple of blocks north of the Galleria. And you guys are redeveloping it and doing some great things there. And you've renamed it Central Park Post Oak. So
correct.
Tell us a little bit more about what you guys are doing with the former Post Oak Central.
Well, just for full disclosure, it's not my project, but I am keeping track of what's going on here pretty closely, mainly because I'm in it right now. We moved our offices here a little over a year ago. We bought this property in October of 23, comprised primarily about 1.2 million square feet of office, some minor retail, mostly on the ground floor of the garage building. But it's a property that I can tell you we've had our eye on for some time. In fact, I was thinking about this earlier today as I was waiting for this podcast. I remember sitting over at Mass Raff Restaurant when it used to be across Post Oak, having lunch with Brad 10 years ago, maybe, and looking at these buildings and him talking about what a missed opportunity. If I could get my hands on that, we could do some really great things. And he's been envious and desiring of it for at least that long. And now we've got it, and it's really exciting. As you are aware, we broke ground on 2 new restaurant retail buildings that are located along Post Oak frontage between Post Oak 1 and Post Oak 2. Post Oak 2 is the building you can see behind me. I'm in Post Oak 3. So we're bringing about 150,000 square feet of new and redone, if you will, retail with these buildings, and also a new restaurant building for Post Oak Central Park. Takes a little while to get adjusted. Central Park number 2. We're going to do a restaurant in that building at some point. And then of course retail in the garages. And the leasing is doing well. I mean, it's kind of a startup value add kind of opportunity given where office leasing is. But we've recently signed TDECU for 125,000 square feet. They're going to go in Post Oak Central Park, Post Oak 1. They're going to go in building number 1.
Okay.
BBVA just leased a floor in building number 2. We've got a number of tenants that we're talking to for office, and of course the retail and restaurants. We're very active. The Henry, which is a Fox restaurant concept, will be in one of the buildings. They're going to occupy about 7,000 square feet, I think, in one of the new buildings. So it's really exciting. And I think part of the opportunity here that was envisioned, if you will, by Brad was, and Midway can bring these additional offerings, if you will, for the office tenants in terms of retail and restaurants. It makes it a much more walkable environment. We're also looking at hospitality in the sense of hotel. That's to be determined. Still kind of working through those concepts and ideas. But it's really an exciting project, and we're very, very happy to be involved with it.
With the hospitality, would you put the hotel inside one of the 3 existing buildings?
That is one idea that we're looking at, yes. So, it's we're looking at a number of different concepts.
What do you think about converting one of the buildings, or at least part of it, to like residential living space, condos or apartments or something? Would that work? Or
I'm not the building guy. So I know those ideas have been discussed, but in terms of where we are in the thought process on that, I don't know. I'm not, as I said, it's not my project. Other than coming here to work occasionally, I'm not in those deals every day.
I hear you. I hear you. But you are pretty busy, I think, on the East River, 150 acres on the east side of downtown, just barely on the east side, less than a mile from Dyken Park, the Astros Stadium.
Right.
Yeah. You've got office there. You got retail, multifamily.
Yeah, our phase one is up, and we're about 85% leased on the office, and we've got lease negotiations going on with just for basically the rest of that space right now. Our multifamily project, the Laura, 359 units, is approaching 60% leased. Leasing kind of slowed down for a while, but what's interesting is our leasing, or velocity, if you will, traffic, I think it's the term the retail people use, or residential people use, has basically doubled in terms of velocity over the last couple of months. So that's been very nice, and a result of signing new leases. So that's been very encouraging. So we're well on our way with getting that one leased up. Retail is about 60% leased. Several retail restaurants are opening. A couple have opened. A couple more are in tenant finish out right now. We've got several other non-retail type operators, like a dentist office and nail salon, a couple other things. So the retail's coming along. Of course, Port Houston building, we're under construction on their headquarters building. I learned Monday morning that they're dried in now, with delivery of the building to be substantially complete around the 1st of November. They'll start moving in, and I expect there'll be full occupancy somewhere around the end of the first quarter of next year.
Like it's like a 90,000 square foot building or something like that.
98,000 square feet, 6-story building. Yeah.
Your right total office space, the other buildings you're working in, you've got several 100,000 square feet of office, don't you?
Yeah, just shy of 200,000 square feet of office.
And then you've got those little buildings for sale.
Studios.
Studio
building.
Those are like 10,000 feet or something, right?
We have two buildings for sale, or 10,000 square foot each, 5 over 5. And they are conjoined, if you will, common wall. So you could actually have a 20,000 foot building if you wanted it. We built 3 of those buildings in the first phase of that concept, and sold the first building to the office of James Burnett, OJB, the landscape architecture firm. So they're officing out there. And we've got an architecture firm from Dallas that we're talking to about one of the buildings. So we've got activity. We've got a lot of opportunity there. Those buildings, and of course, East River being in an opportunity zone, there's some additional advantages to owning and tenant improvements, and even applies to certain building office equipment, that sort of thing. I'm not an opportunity zone expert, and I have not seen what the language was in the recent tax what they call big beautiful bill, or whatever that thing is that recently passed. But I understand that the opportunity zone language was improved. It survived, not only survived, but there were some improvements to it. So, or additional benefit. Let's put it that way. Fantastic. So that's on my list of things to do, is to kind of get educated so I can talk to prospective buyers. And those studio buildings are for lease or for sale.
But it sounds to me like, that's the first phase, I believe you said, is 26 acres. And that sounds like it's about used up.
As you well know, Ralph, because you and I have known each other for a long time, I'm a land developer. Our section 1 is 26 acres. And of the 26 acres, we've built vertical on 18 or so.
Okay.
So we've got a 3.5 acre site on the corner of Jensen and Clinton. We've got a 2 acre site right dead center in the middle of the property at the entrance that we're just waiting for the right office tenant to come along and do a build a suit on. We've had several that we've talked to, but one of which was TDECU, but Brad decided they should be here instead of East River, I guess. So we're out, letting people know, particularly in the brokerage world, and a lot of people who read and listen to your podcast and read your newsletters and other things. We've got sites in East River for sale for owner-occupied buildings, and we're happy to do a build-to-suit. And if we can't make you happy from a build-to-suit standpoint, I'm happy to sell you a site and let you build your own building, which is what I did with a company called Anton Parr. Anton Parr is a European-based instrumentation company. I sold them a site last year for a 30,000 square foot office building. And they'll, as soon as they get their City of Houston building permits done, they'll be underway.
So there could be another year or so before you say, I'm out of land in the phase one, I'm ready to do phase two.
If I had a user come along and say, I need a site, I want to do 500,000 square feet, I want my own building, I want my own site, I'll put them immediately west of the port there in section 2. We've already got all our plans for water sewer, all the horizontal improvement design has been done. We're just waiting on the right deal to pull the trigger and move forward. So
yeah,
I'm not waiting to sell every square inch in section 1 before I start section 2.
Well,
right deal comes along, I'll do section 2, 3, and 4. You know me.
Isn't there supposed to be like more residential, like for sale residential or something? What all's in
our earlier master plan involved some townhouses, for sale townhouses. We made the decision back as we were about to kick off section 1 that we weren't really going to look at that because we thought there were enough, if you will, townhouses being developed north of us, between us and Interstate 10. And certainly on the south side of the bayou, there was a lot of townhouse activity. Post-COVID, post-change in the energy market, quite honestly, we think that long-term office demand that dynamic has changed. It hasn't gone away. There's still going to be tenants who are looking for the new and the shiny, the new offices in environments like East River, like Central Park, like City Center, where you have all of the amenities, walkable retail. You can walk to a restaurant, you can walk to retail. You don't have to get in your car to go to lunch, kind of thing. And that's one of the reasons we were able to get Marathon Oil to go to build in City Center. Obviously, that their dynamics have changed a little bit, but at the same time, we were able to get Dow. And Dow's the lead tenant in City Center 6, which we're working on. Those kind of deals are going to continue because companies today, and we've talked about this before, companies today are competing for talent, and the office tenant, the office employer, if you will, if he's got a choice and he's trying to attract talent, and that talent wants these things, they're really into walkability and lifestyle. Then are they going to go to a one-off office building out in a sea of parking all by itself, or are they going to go into an environment, mixed-use environment like what we do? And we think the thesis holds water.
I mean, City Center 6, I guess, topped out recently, which is there in the city center, which is Katy Freeway near Beltway 8 or Sam Houston Tollway. And, it's a lot of phases. It's got everything, a lot of restaurants, apartments, office space, just a ton of things and some green space. And that's
well, the green space, we think, that's kind of critical. That's part of our corporate philosophy, if you will, because that's what the tenants want, and that's what our retailers want. they want places where people can come, that attracts people to come. You're going to come to the restaurant, have a place where your kids can run around and play while you eat. And we've got the city center, of course. We've got the park there. Our Century Square project in College Station has one. It even has a little band stage. We call it the back door. We've got two of those spaces in East River. As you know, we've got kind of the Plaza Park between the buildings. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the River Park, which is between building, what we call the Trailhead building. It's the 6-story there on the water. It slopes down. And so we've got a lot of seating. We've got part of that park has got kind of unique playground opportunities for the kids. We have a little band stage there, and we have music there every Friday night. We activate that park with music, and it's been really well received. We get a lot of people from the townhome communities immediately to the north come down, and that's what we want. We want them to come to the park, and we want them to eat at City Cellars Restaurant and the other restaurants that are going to be opening in East River pretty soon.
And then, of course,
if they really want to have a good time, they go down to East River 9 and River House.
The golf course. Yeah,
the golf course.
And pickleball, I think, that's
and pickleball.
Yeah, you got to have pickleball in this world. But yeah, that was great. Yeah, that restaurant there is at the golf course is really good. And of course, there's a building next to it. I guess it's still standing, like a Brown and Root building from 50 or 60 years ago. I don't know, but it's still standing. Have you ever thought about making something happen with that, or it may be pretty far gone to try to restore it?
We've looked, that you're correct in that was the old Brown and Root and Kellogg Brown and Root engineering campus, that part of the property. And it's on the eastern third of the 150 acres. And originally we were going to start development on that end, but then we switched gears to start on the west end of the property. And those buildings we'll figure those out when we get there, kind of thing. Yeah. If I had to crystal ball it right now, we would, we'll keep that 12-story tower. The other buildings are pretty much they're either not worth saving, or streets are right now, public streets will be built where they are. So they're going to go bye-bye. But the tower structurally, I mean, it was an engineering tower designed and built by engineers. So it's a pretty concrete monolith.
That's old. It's really old.
It's old, and we've actually been looking at the idea of kicking. We'd have to totally redo all the mechanicals and everything. It could be a hotel. It could be an office tower. It could be a lot of things. Residential tower, and I'm pretty sure I can't swear on a stack of Bibles to this, but I think it's the tallest office building between downtown and Clear Lake.
Wow!
So it's pretty unique.
You already the views from all over that East River, I mean, the golf course, everything, or downtown skyline, A+ view. It really is, and man, had the penthouse in the 12-story building. I bet you get a really good view of downtown skyline. Major good view.
You absolutely do. You absolutely do. And I've been on the roof a number of times. So it's in fact, when we started construction, we mounted cameras on top of that roof where we could monitor construction of section 1, and we could turn the camera and then look down and monitor construction on the golf course.
Wow.
Always good to be able to keep an eye on things.
Yeah. No, that's
well, we do that. We do that on all the projects. We've got a camera trained on City Center 6. We've watched that, all the way through.
Yeah, that's right. That makes sense. Yeah, but that building. When the Brown Root building was built?
I believe that 12-story tower was built in 1975, but I wouldn't swear to it. Somewhere around that era. That's when that building was built. I could probably go back on Google Earth and go back through time and look and see, or at least get the window of when it was built.
It'd be it'd be cool to redevelop it. The other thing we're talking about redeveloping is you're talking about it. Watermark, I think is the new name. They've
Watermark District, yes.
Yes, Watermark District on the Katy Freeway near Eldridge, and it was formerly a ConocoPhillips 70 acre project headquarters and stuff, or it's something as big. You guys bought it and you're redeveloping it. And to give us an update on that one, David.
Again, that's one of those kind of unique properties that you've got to have some vision for. And I think, when Brad and I looked at that, wasn't that long after I joined the company, Conoco was moving across the street to the buildings that Trammell Crow built there on the southwest corner of Eldridge and I-10. And we actually talked to Conoco at that time about working with them and maybe do a redevelopment effort where they could put that in their employee pension fund or something, some kind of idea. They decided they wanted to sell it and be done with it. And we said, okay. And at the time, it wasn't right for us, but give it a few years, and the opportunity presented itself again. Two different owners, obviously, and we thought it was a great time. And in looking at the property, it's about 1.2 million square feet of office space, plus fitness center and parking garages and other things. And the idea there is to repurpose, not redevelop in the sense of scraping it, but repurpose most of the office, take a little bit of the office down and convert and come back with a hotel. We've actually looked at trying to take this one office pod and figure out how we could convert it to a hotel. And the floor plates just don't quite work. So we'd have to take that building down. The employee center and conference center part of that building, we could lease that tomorrow for fitness and other things. And we've had discussions with several different operators on that. So we're working through it. We don't have debt on it, so we're not pressured. We want to make sure we've got the right fit. We've got, there's a growing list of tenants that we've showed it to, but the thing we found that was one advantage when we purchased it was before they left, the owners, Oxy owned it. Yeah. And Oxy was going to move their headquarters there from Greenway Plaza. And they went in and totally gutted the office buildings. I mean, took it down to the walls. And so, the outside of the building, you can't tell anything's different. The inside of the building, it's like walking through core and shell in some respects. Air conditioning, all that stuff is still there, but that gave us the opportunity to talk to tenants and say, look, it's a blank slate. You're not walking through corridors of offices and tenants are going, oh my God, I've got to demo all this, or I got to figure out how to make this fit. No, we're working for almost a blank slate of shell and core, shell building. And that gives us an awful lot of flexibility in being able to work with tenants and may have different unique needs.
Yeah, but there's a lot of buildings, like 16 buildings or something. That's quite a
but they're all connected by walkways. And of course, we've got the lake system that Conoco built, and that's a great feature. We've got, I think, like over a mile of walking trail. I think it's maybe close to 2 miles of a walking trail around the property. So we've got that fitness amenity kind of thing. Our master plan has 2 or 3 restaurant buildings along the frontage that we would help to activate. Again, bringing the walkable restaurant, walkable retail to the area, making it a little bit more of that walkable amenity. And the tenants in the buildings across the street, those 2 office buildings that Crow built back when, they'd love to see those restaurants there, as would our friends to the east. So, and we also have for brokers who are listening to this story, we've got about 11 acre, the easternmost part of the property, about 11 acres, where we could do a build-to-suit for anybody that wants to be in the energy corridor, but can't find the right space in the energy corridor. We can build it for them.
What's your time frame on bringing the first of these buildings back? Or you're waiting on tenants pre-leasing?
That's totally a function of the market, and when we get a tenant that we can get to a deal with and move forward. But again, as I said, we don't have debt on it, so we're not under a lot of pressure in that regard. But we do want to move forward, and we've been advancing plans. We've got one restaurant operator that we're talking to about 2 restaurants. So things are moving.
Now,
as you know, Ralph, being a observer and student of this industry for way back when. I mean, you and I met when you were with the Post, and I'll let your readers go to Wikipedia and find out what the Houston Post was. There's a lot of work that's done up front before you're ever, turning dirt with the shovel out there.
Yeah, it's going to go a long way. You've been president of the Energy Corridor District, president of West Houston Association, and you've worked in that area for a long time. What's going on market-wise with the energy corridor? We've heard some companies, several big companies. Fluor, I think, is moving their headquarters there, and some others. Tell us a little bit about the dynamics of the energy corridor right now.
The energy corridor, to be use a obvious pun, the energy corridor has a lot of energy, right? It's an interesting market. What started off as a suburban corporate campus kind of world, if you will, back in the 70s and early 80s, is evolving into more of a suburban mixed use type environment. Again, it gets back to, these companies are trying to hire employees, and they're looking for those kind of things. They're looking for a lot more than just, I'm going to go to my office, I'm going to be there, eat this company cafeteria, and go home at night. They want more things to do. They want more options at lunchtime. And so I think we're going to see more and more. Granite redid their buildings. They were kind of incentivized by Harvey, I guess you would say. So they've gone in and really upped their game on their buildings. And Fluor is moving in, has moved in actually.
Really?
BP, they're doing a lot of fun things on their campus. Of course, ConocoPhillips in the buildings on Eldridge, just south of I-10.
Mm-hmm.
Fabulous build out in their space. So what we're doing, and then there are other things happening down, for a little bit further west. So a lot of activity in the energy corridor right now. Office leasing's doing very well.
Baker Hughes, they're doing anything?
Not that I'm aware of or that I could talk about.
Yeah, it just seemed like they did get a lot of, the people coming or companies coming from downtown or something, like looking for that closer to where people live, avoiding commute, that thing that people are shooting for when they're talking about making people want to come back to the office, after working from home during COVID and stuff, and incentivize it so the employees want to come back. And that's happening. And they say it's happening faster in Houston than in some markets. And almost every other city really is the big city. That's what the studies say.
That's correct. That's what we're seeing, and that's what we're hearing when we talk to people. That Houston is, to a certain extent, leading in that regard, and people coming back to the office. And I think one of the things that the energy corridor has in it is, as Houston, metropolitan Houston grows, and you have more and more residential development going on out to the west, northwest, west, southwest.
Yeah.
Johnson's Cross Creek Ranch is pretty much built out, and now Hines bought 3,000 acres immediately south of it, and there's a big master plan community there. There's another one that's being talked about west of that. And of course, Bridgelands is going like gangbusters.
Um,
So, people who are moving out there for quality of life for the school districts, they're going, I really don't want to drive all the way downtown to go to work. And so I think the energy core, and employers are hearing that. They're seeing that. It's harder to get their employees to come all the way downtown. So I think that's one of the reasons we're seeing a real pickup in lease activity and interest in the energy corridor.
Home affordability is such an issue that the home builders have gotten the edge, have the capability of doing buy down mortgages, so people aren't facing the 7% mortgage. They can the builder can buy it down, so at least they have a adjustable rate the first 2 or 3 years with 4, 5, and 6%. That's something that they've used that to their advantage. They're attuned to what's going to make buyers buy a house. So when you were speaking at the NARI, the National Association of Real Estate Actors, you mentioned a new project, and I believe I heard you say 250 or 220 acres or something. Were you referring to the Hutto deal there? Is that what it was?
I was. One of the things that I've been working on is an opportunity that we submitted a response to a request for proposals. It was an invitation only kind of event, and we were successful. This is 250 acres in the city of Hutto, owned by the Hutto Economic Development Corporation.
Wow.
And their desire and vision and what we proposed to them was to develop that property with a multiple mixed use, in the sense that we would have a fairly sizable mixed use component to it, if you will, but also a strong retail presence, some residential. And as it turns out, current conceptual master plan includes medical. It also includes some other public uses that they want, such as some athletic fields, a new city library, a recreation center. They want to move their police department and create a new criminal justice center. So they've got this property, and they said, we really need help creating a really special environment. And we said, well, that's interesting because that's what we do. And we made a proposal. And in fact, I was at their board meeting on Monday night, giving them an update on where we were at the whole thing. And it was very interesting. They're very determined. They know what they want. To a certain degree, they're pretty sure they know what they don't want. They have a tremendous amount of industrial activity going on in their, what they call the mega site. And that's which is east of this property. It's a very large tract of land that they're basically doing a very big industrial park on. And the names you are very familiar with are already active in their buildings. There's a big data center under construction. I can see it from the property we're working on. And the Samsung plant in Taylor, which everybody in, half the people in the world, I think, know about. Yeah. The Samsung plant in Taylor is like 4.5 miles down the road. So
that plant is huge. I believe the price tag is like
huge.
$17 billion plant, and just like
that's the start. That's the start. I've been up to the gate. It's like an aircraft carrier sitting in the middle of the prairie. It's huge. But so it's exciting in the amount of business and the economy of that part of Austin. Austin's kind of some people are saying it's softening a bit. I think that may be true, but then I think it was like Houston, like you and I both have seen Houston in the past from time to time, where the rate of growth was unsustainable. You just couldn't keep up with the growth. Austin has pulled back, just like we do in the cycles that we go through. And so, while the Austin market in general is doing that eastern Williamson County area is just really going gangbusters.
That's
And
right.
so we're excited about that opportunity. We're working through those issues right now in terms of the pre-planning. Again, a lot of stuff being done up front.
It's not that far from the. It's not your site's not that far from the the Tesla Gigafactory.
No, right, it's right down 130. Yeah,
right.
And in fact, Tesla has leased or doing a deal in the mega site for store cars or something. I don't know what they're going to do on it, but I know they're working on a site over there.
Does that mega site have rail access?
Yes,
it does. Okay.
In fact, Heidi McAllister, I can't remember the name of Heidi's. You remember Jim McAllister?
Oh yeah,
right. Oh, yeah. Jim's daughter Heidi has a rail yard. She's got a big rail yard, right, almost probably a 3 or 4 par, if you use the golf term, from the Samsung plant, almost on the south side of 79 with Union Pacific Railroad access. I mean, and it's doing very well from what I'm told. A lot of training.
I always thought when I first heard about the, Tesla's facility, Elon bought 2,000 acres down there, 130 East Austin. Not that
I
far.
know the property well. I looked at that property back in 2016.
Did you?
Yeah.
Hey, but the thing of it is like it doesn't have rail, and you're thinking,
no, it doesn't.
How are you building a huge car plant, 4 million square foot automobile car plant, electric car plant, and you don't have a railroad, and you're supposed to be shipping out cars, hundreds of cars a week. That's any big. I just don't know. I don't know how they make it work, but I'm not going to argue with him. He knows how to make money. I'm just richest guy in the world.
I assume he's making money. He sure knows how to spend money.
Yeah, he does something else. The other thing, since we're talking about Central Texas, and just wanted to touch on one thing here, but I noticed there down at San Marcos, you got some coverage there with the news coverage there with this hotel, right on the campus of Texas State University. It used to be called Southwest Texas State, SWTSU, there in San Marcos, and but you're building a hotel and some other stuff there on the campus.
We are again. It's not a project I'm involved in, but we're working with the university, and again, we're really excited about that opportunity, and it's kind of indicative of a number of things that we're working on. We responded to an RFP to Southwest University up in Georgetown. I guess 2 years ago now, and the university, at least at that time, owned an awful lot of land to the east of the university, over towards 130, that touched on the river, San Gabriel River, and they were looking for somebody to come in and develop that property, and again provide kind of a walkable environment with some retail and other things that not only serve the university in the sense of amenity complex, but also provide income for the university. I mean, build buildings where you have tenants paying rent, and that as a partner in that they would have some income from that. We were not successful in that one. I hate to say. It's a great piece of property. I spent a lot of time walking around and looking at it, but at the end of the day, we didn't get that one. But we're looking at those kinds of opportunities, and they're out there. And it's not just universities, as you know, Century Square in College Station. That's with Texas A&M University. They're our landlord from a ground standpoint, and so we've developed kind of a part of our business model, if you will, is to work with universities and trying to help them advance their goals. And we're also working in a couple instances with some cities, county, on what I call the green space initiative, where these entities own green space. It's either an underutilized derelict park, like we did with Levy Park in Kirby Grove, right? In Richmond at Kirby. And take that space, rethink it, reorganize it, if you will, move things around if you can, and bring some activity to that space and do so in a quality way. We're working on something up in the Dallas market right now. Anna Deans in our shop is heading that up. We kind of see the Hutto thing as being a partly that, because 40 plus acres of that property will be for ball fields and other park amenities. It's literally on the other side of Cottonwood Creek from what's Fitz Park. And Fitz Park in Hutto is a kind of a park complex where they've got soccer fields, baseball fields, tennis courts, and things like that. So in one respect, this would be an expansion of that central park complex within the city. And then we'd be developing mixed use right next to it, and integrating those in a sense of shared parking, maybe some hospitality type amenities and that sort of thing. So there's a lot of those kind of opportunities out there where, there a city, a county, some other kind of public entity may have property that's underutilized, could be put to a better use, and done so in a way that really brings a lot more activity to that community's center.
Sounds like you ought to get involved in the Astrodome, man. The county.
I knew you were going to say that.
What you're describing, I thought, oh, okay. See, a city, county, underutilized, put some green space in. That sounds like you could do that at the Astrodome.
I think I'd have better luck negotiating peace between Israel and Hamas. But that said, no, the Astrodome, I mean, I think you and I both feel that that is such a unique part of our community that we've got to figure out a solution to that. And I hope that gets done sooner than later.
They keep working on it, and I just think, sometimes I wonder about the county, like they need to have some real people with the kind of expertise that you guys have, that representing the county's interest. I see the agreement and leases and things that the county has signed with these outside groups, and go, oh man, I don't know who their rep was. They need to get some of these guys are used to putting together big leases and get them to help them a little bit more. but hey, man, that's anyway. Well,
I have no comment.
I know you're right. No, that's just me. I'm not putting that on David. That's just me. But yeah, that's. I don't want to see it torn down. I sure don't. Just think it'd be so much more than what it is. So much more than 25,000 parking spaces and a couple stadiums parked there. It's just just make it a place for the people. They own it. The people of Harris County own it, right? But there's fences around it, and you can't get in there. So let's.
If
I ever run to county judge, I'm not going to run against Lena for county judge. I guarantee you. All righty. Well, David Hightower, thanks so much, and so glad to talk with you here. You're one of the best in the business. I have known you a hell of a long time, and so thanks for taking time to talk with me.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure, and I appreciate your comment. I'm going to quote a line from a movie. Uh, I'm the best because I work with the best. We've got a tremendous team here, and it's fun to come in every day and find out new things people are working on.
All right, David. We'll see you soon.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thanks for listening, and be sure to check out realtynewsreport.com.